have our bard, musician, deer, elf, whatever you want to call her, Ciaccona. Released in the second half of this patch, it is another red-haired character kind of in line with a lot of the others. Even the rerun 4 stars are all red-haired except for Yang, cause let's all be red-haired and not tell her. From the front, she is quite broad, having a fluffed out dress as well as a cape, kind of more like sleeve attachment thing that is completely making a triangle-esque silhouette. She wears over the knee, almost upper thigh high boots, which have a really nice gradient to them, which we'll be looking at later, as well as this ruffly part, which I think is really beautiful. From one side, she is another character with shorter appearing hair and a cape to make up for it, kind of like Zani. From this side, you can see very well how tall one of her horns are, as well as how far this cape arm attachment thing really goes out, and how flared these shoes are. In addition, again, our rule that no character shall go out without heels. The back is pretty much the same as the front, though it is a bit more open in my opinion. As this cape thing disappears during her ult, the entire back is open aside from some gold details. Otherwise, it looks less floofed out here just because the ruffles are hidden under the arm attachments. And the last side seems to be pretty much mirrored compared to the other one, aside from the horn on this side being a bit smaller, though you can't really see it that well if looked directly from the side. I'm trying my hardest to get her horns in frame right now as they're quite tall. Starting from the top, she is quite bright. This is not only due to the highlights, but also to the gradient and the silver horns as well. In my opinion, her hair is kind of like Shishia's, being longer on one side, though only slightly, and also being bound into a braid. Looking at her face only, she has a very interesting gradient at the top. I think it's because her hair is so bright, it kind of has to reflect in the face as well. Her irises are also quite unique, being in the shape of stars and having 2 little moles under them. Generally, I might be tripping, but I find that the emotions on this one were also made quite well. Usually, what I find in these characters is that the mouth shapes, especially smiling, look a little bit off. I feel like because she moves around a lot and has to sing and is very expressionate, her mouth physics were a bit... I take back my words. Her mouth physics were worked on a bit. But again, I might just be tripping and it just looks better on her. Looking at both face and hair together, it kind of makes sense why she has that gradient now, because under her bangs you can very clearly see her hairline. On the back we have the braid like I said, though in comparison to Shishia, she has a vine braided in. This vine apparently goes under her hair and loops around her horns. Her horns are 2 different sizes, one being smaller and one being quite tall, though they seem to have around the same kind of length of vine. She has this little, I almost want to say chicken-like, ahoge, as well as, oh my fucking god, an actual hair tie, as well as a silver detail on it which fits to the cuffs on her ears. Personally, I'm not too much of a fan of the cuffs. I feel like they could have been the same color as her horns, but I think that's just subjective. Kinda wanna color them silver now, I just kinda wanna see, you know? I feel like they'd be kind of cute in silver, though this is more white, but again, that is just subjective. Moving further down, I do have to note that I added this tacit mark myself, and it might not be 100% accurate. The tacit mark on the model that was given was missing, but on a good note, I also have a second quote-unquote model to show you later. Ciaccona has a very peculiar looking neck piece, being consistent of something that almost looks like a collar, as well as something elastic almost to hold up her dress, in contrary to the elastic part, which does seem to connect to something golden around her back. This elastic part is quite thick and is also reinforced with this metallic looking thing, which has another gem similar to her choker embellished. From this metal looking part, a kind of mesh thing goes down to her bust. How do I know it's mesh? You don't really need eyes, I'm sorry. Since both of the arms seem to be quite mirrored, I'll only be looking at one today. Looking at the arms, a major piece that kind of draws attention to it isn't really part of the arm at all. This puffy sleeve looking thing is more attached to the cape she wears rather than being attached to her arm. You can see this quite well in her ultimate, where this entire part just disappears. Regardless, even though this part belongs to her cape, we'll count it as the arm for now. This part is majorly green, kind of matching with her eyes, as well as having a leather kind of belt running along it with big and small silver details, as well as our beloved sci-fi holes because we cannot not have those. I'm not quite sure what this is, other than just being a gap filler, though it just kind of looks like a bottle opener. Being a bard and all, I mean, maybe. Looking under the cape-like thing, we have the actual sleeve, which looks a bit weird on my screen, and that's only because this is transparent in the game. Despite being transparent on the inside, it is outlined with a lot of gold detail. This gold detail and/or lining goes all the way around until meeting up at something pointy, kind of looking similar to her hair tie. The upper half is a bit thicker, though also not quite holding onto the arm, and has another gold detail connected to chains. Moving further down, she doesn't really have much more to her arm, aside from this wristband. It kind of just looks like more of a spare hair tie, though again it doesn't quite hug her wrist, and is made of more of a transparent-ish cloth. There's pearls all the way around it, kind of similar to the vines on her headpiece. Going all the way down to her hand, she doesn't have any glove or pattern-like things, but she has very pretty nails. Instead of being green like the rest of her outfit, these kind of more match to her hair. And let's return her body to her. Returning to her body and moving on to her upper torso, we have the main part of her dress. The dress itself is again quite green and has some of the fabric from her cape attached to the upper half. This upper half has two half belts for some reason, a little tassel on one side, as well as the two halves being connected by a chain in the middle. On this thing, we can find the golden lining again, as well as this symbol. One thing that kind of shocked me about her was the lack of side boob. But honestly, even though I am a side boob enjoyer, it's been kind of too much. So I'm kind of glad she doesn't have any. The upper dress itself, kind of like all of the other outfits from the game, wouldn't be anything without little holes as well as nonsensical writing. Honestly, her entire dress can be split into two halves, being mirrored on both sides aside from this little heavier side. Aside from the holes on the bust, there is braided parts going down the sides, as well as two slits in it, one being more of a V with a lower layer, as well as a layer that exposes more skin, though being quite hidden by this big gold symbol. I saw a lot of people say that her outfit is quite similar to Chun-Li's, though me personally, I can't really see it, aside from her also having a cape and a hole in the middle, but otherwise I feel like they're quite different. The dress has a very nice gradient with a little pink part in the middle, more of the pearl details, as well as an open belt going all the way around. This side of her seems to be a little more heavy, as that is where the tassel mark is, as well as a tassel and a little bag. I guess they kind of tried leveling this out, with the braid going to one side as well as the big horn, but it just kind of looks like upper side and then lower side. Going back to the belt though, and moving around to the back, the belt seems to be connected by another big emblem. Me personally, I didn't play her story yet, so I don't know if these embellishments mean anything, but she has a total of 3 running down her back. Her dress has a total of 4 question mark, maybe 5 layers. While the outside is more white and dark forest green, the inside is a little bit lighter and has a lot of sparkle to it. Looking a bit closer as to what she wears around her shoulders, as I literally can't call it a cape anymore, it has a dark forest green to cyan almost blue-like gradient with many more sharp and gold vine-like details. There is a total of 6 tassels on it, as well as a lighter inside. The inside still keeps some of these silver details, but instead of golden, the vines are more of a mint color. Aside from the belt-like fabric running along the chest and the arms, the one securing the back seems to be a little thinner and also seem to be able to be tied into a bow, which is fed through a hole at the upper layer and gives her more belts to hang at the back. I thought we were over belts, KuroGames. I didn't expect us to be back in this phase so soon, but whatever floats your boat. Moving further down, her legs are mirrored much like the upper half. Like I mentioned before, they're over-the-knee thigh-high boots, with again lots of ruffle, and almost all of the color she's had on the outfit thus far being represented in them. The shoes and the upper half of the outfit do seem to mirror a bit, as we have this lower part of the dress kind of coinciding with this color, kind of like the upper half of the outfit. So a reverse gradient, if you may. The shoes give an illusion that they open up here, but this white line just goes all the way around to the back. I don't really know or want to know how she gets in and out of these, but that's her struggle, as this is not a zipper, nor has any zipper attached to it, and just seems to go from a more solid to a mesh part. Other than that, she has more writing, as well as stars going from her lower leg down to her feet. Aside from the stars at the front, she also has stars at the back, along with more blobs, which don't really look like writing to me. Other than that, her heels are quite big, though they don't have anything under them. Going back to what I said earlier, they did give the hurt textures that belong to Ciaccona. Quickly going over them, she has a very big chip in her horn, as well as dirt and little scratches, more dirt and scratch lines in her hair for some reason. I don't think hair can get scratched, so I think it's just to symbolize that this part of her is dirty right now. There's another chip at the back, and actually little scratches on her face. I didn't expect them to actually put damage on the characters' faces, though I haven't really paid attention in the game and or through other models. There's a scratch up here, as well as one on her cheek. The hair itself is a bit darker at the ends, probably to show again that it's dirty. Then she has mirrored scratches on her shoulders, a lot of damage to her pretty dress, including but not limited to these 2 holes, a huge amount of dust I assume, a gash so big that there's even strings connected here, a lot of dirt on her legs, more gashes and scratches on her cape, as well as probably the most damaged being her boots. Since the boots are mirrored, we can count a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gaps on them. Aside from the upper leg being quite damaged, there's even little scratches down here, even though you can barely see them. These are quite big scratches and dents, and 4 stars at the front, due to being mirrored, look like they cracked. The weapon she chose, and I say that very lightly, is the gun. Though as we probably all know by now, she prefers to use her microphone as a bonking stick. There isn't a singular attack, I think, where she uses her gun. That said, I do find this quite unique. I did like this with Zani and a lot of the other characters which use non-conventional weapons as well. Or rather not the weapon they were assigned, but rather something else. Overall, I really love Ciaccona's design, though I kind of really wish she wasn't as mirrored. She is a bard and a very creative one at that, so I feel like her especially should have an outfit full of accessories. And by that I don't really mean her little gold details, but rather lots of little nods to her being a bard and or musical artist. But I think that was it for Ciaccona's dissection. I hope you enjoyed and have a nice day. Bye bye.